They called him the Conqueror of the Maghreb. Uqba ibn Nafi believed his sword was guided by divine destiny, but destiny has a way of changing sides when you force it into the unforgiving mountains of another man's home. Uqba was returning from the Atlantic, his army thinned by hubris. He still saw Kusaila as merely a subdued rebel, a tool he had broken. He was fatally wrong. Kusaila was no rebel. He was a king, and a king does not suffer insult to his people forever. What Uqba called betrayal was merely a delayed strategic defense. The stage was set at Vescera. Uqba led his heavy cavalry into the gorge. The silence was deep, broken only by the strike of horseshoes on stone. They were masters of the open desert, but here in this geological vice their speed meant nothing. Kusaila waited. He didn't just know this terrain, the terrain was his weapon. The trap didn't just spring, the mountain itself came alive. It was an execution by geography. The Amazigh warriors didn't fight on the mountain, they fought as the mountain. They were shadows with spears, striking from heights the heavy cavalry couldn't reach, then disappearing back into the rock. This was not a disorganized mob of rebels. This was tactical supremacy led by a sovereign king defending his realm. The heavy armor that saved Uqba's men in the desert became their tombs in the defile. Uqba fought with the desperate fury of a man who realized too late that arrogance is not a shield. His army was fractured, isolated into pockets of doomed resistance. The land was reclaiming its territory, one invader at a time. The hour of the conqueror had passed. The hour of the local king had arrived. Uqba fell, sword in hand, overwhelmed not just by numbers, but by a superior tactical reality. The legend died at Vescera. As the dust settled over the carnage, the silence of the mountains returned, heavier than before. Kusaila stood over the man who had tried to erase him. There was no gleam of triumph in his eyes, only the grim exhaustion of necessity. He had defended his home, but he knew the waves of history would keep crashing against these rocks. The death of Uqba ibn Nafi taught the world a brutal, lasting lesson. You can conquer a land with fire and sword, but you cannot own mountains that do not know your name.